This recording of Finding Your Powers is brought to you by the Carter Hughes Knowledge Institute.
Welcome to this episode of Simple Definitions. As always, at the Carter Hughes Knowledge Institute, we keep it simple. We keep it useful. Every lesson we design is to provide you with information that you can use to push yourself further. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Never forget that. Everybody's heard the term use it or lose it, right? Use it or lose it. If you haven't, then you're probably not at the point where you're paying bills yet, so that's good. That's good. Get the information early so you can enjoy the benefits sooner. That phrase, use it or lose it, refers to the universal law of use. Universal laws are laws that cannot be broken, like the law of gravity. No matter how far you go up or how light that item is, what goes up must come down. Now, if that man didn't understand the law of gravity, then he might walk out of that second-story window and believe he's going to go up. And that man is going to be disappointed. He's going up to the hospital, but that's about it. If he did understand the law, then he could use that understanding in a way that gets him a reward instead of a punishment. So it's important to understand the law. The law of use comes from the parable of the talents, a story told by Jesus in the Bible. Every story in the Bible has a message that we can use to help us live life in a way that pleases God. There are rewards for certain behaviors, and there are punishments for certain behaviors. In the parable of the talents, Jesus tells the story of a master with 3 servants. This master is going out of town for a while, so he calls in the 3 servants and he gives them talents. Servant number 1, here you, 5 talents. Servant number 2, here you, 2 talents. Servant number 1, here you, 1 talent. The master goes on his journey, and when the master returns, he calls the 3 servants in to see what they did with their talents while the master was gone. So what did you do with your talents without the help of the master? And the story goes, servant number 1 came in and said, "Master, I took the 5 talents that you gave me. I worked them, I developed them, I grew them into 10 talents. The master says, "Job well done, my good and faithful servant." Servant number 2 said, "I took the 2 talents you gave me. I worked them, I developed them, and I grew them into 4 talents." The master says, "Job well done, my good and faithful servant." And now you, servant number 3, what did you do with the talent I gave you? Servant number 3 says, "Well, I took the talent you gave me and I carefully wrapped it. Then I buried it where no one would find it and steal it. And I heard you were coming back into town, so I went and I dug it up, and here it is, wrapped nicely and neatly, nice and neat, just for you." According to the ancient story, the master says, "Take that talent away from him and give it to the man with 10 talents. Now I know what you're saying. You're saying, "Hey, that's not fair." You're saying, "Hey, that's not even. He only had 1 talent to begin with." Remember, we don't ask that you like the messages being given to us from the Bible, but we do suggest that you learn the messages given to us from the Bible. Servant number 3 chose not to develop his talents. So servant number 3 lost his talent. Use it or lose it. Are there any talents that you have that you are not using? Use it or lose it. Universal laws are laws that cannot be broken. But if you understand the law, now you can use it in a way that gets you a reward instead of a punishment. According to the law of use, if you commit to working and developing your talents, then it's only a matter of time before God acknowledges your commitment by saying, "Job well done, my good and faithful servant." There's a story of two friends who lived in Virginia. These two friends both wanted to become lawyers. So one friend told her parents and her counselor that she wanted to become a lawyer. And she applied to law school and she got accepted. 6 years later, she became a lawyer. The other friend did some research on Virginia state law, and she found out that in this particular state, you don't have to go to law school to become a lawyer. You have to apprentice at a law firm for 1 year and then pass the bar exam. So she got with a local lawyer and started her apprenticeship. A little over 1 year later, she became a lawyer. And the only difference between the two friends was their understanding of the law. One was willing to seek the information, to learn the information without being told to do so. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Never forget that. And continue to explore the most fascinating thing about your life. You.